It's a jolly cold Saturday morning, but it's 9 o'clock, which means it's time for the Monster Magic Saturday Show. Let's do this.
Wake up, it's a beautiful morning. Feel the sun shining for your eyes.
Woohoo! Oh, how I long for central heating. This show might be a tad shorter than normal because for some unknown reason, none of the plug sockets are working on the boat. So I've got Zippo heating at the moment, which always seems to happen in winter, doesn't it? But fingers crossed, giving some good reviews to some cracking tricks might just warm me up. And first up, we have Challenge Coin by R.Paul Wilson. The effect is that you show 6 cards in a row, 3 face up, 3 face down, and then you introduce a challenge coin, and that coin has some very clear instructions on it. Roll die, start on left, move to number, and that is exactly what happens. Invisible die is rolled, and number is counted to, and that card is turned over. It turns out to be the only red card of the 6, and when you turn over the challenge coin, it says the red card. It's actually based on a very old idea by Arthur Carter, published in New Pentagram in 1975. I say very old. I was born before then. It is a really simple, virtually self-working trick. It's been developed since Arthur Carter invented it. Di Vernon was the first person to introduce the idea of this invisible die, I believe. And as R.Paul Wilson talks about, Dean Dill played a lot with the idea. And I think some of the subtleties and the nuances that Paul Wilson goes into are based on Dean Dill's. Let me show you what you get in here, because really for me this trick is very much about the props. This is the challenge coin. This is the big thing, isn't it? So that's what it looks like. And what is interesting about this trick, and what Paul Wilson's really made, is that sometimes there's always a bit of ambiguity, certainly the way Arthur Carter did it. With this, it's all set in stone. These instructions are followed directly. There is a bit of jazzing with the method as to who rolls the die, who does the counting, whose left are you talking about, that sort of thing, to arrive at the correct card. But that jazzing is very simple. So the outcome could be slightly different, or the path, the journey, should we say, to landing on the red card can be slightly different, but you don't necessarily have to learn it because you know where you've got to land. So provided you use your common sense, you will do it correctly. But it is very, very well explained by Paul Wilson. The back of the coin looks like that, and it's really nice, really, really heavy. Paul talks about, the tutorial's 30 minutes, and Paul talks a little bit about the history of challenge coins and things like that, which is useful if we want to mention it, but I don't think it's necessary. I think just explaining that this is the instructions on it and these instructions will be followed exactly is all that really, really matters. And then in here you also get the 6 cards that you need. It's as simple as that. These are just standard bicycle cards, so if you want to change the number or whatever it is, you can. They don't have to be in numerical order. In fact, perhaps it's probably best if they're not. Maybe if they look more random, if they're not numerical cards, that might be better. But you can just take them out of any blue deck and any red deck, and you are good to go. It doesn't have to be bicycle, obviously. You can use your cohorts or whatever you wish. The setup is really, really simple. It's a very, very simple trick. Paul explains it in great detail. He goes into the theory a lot of how to make it as strong as possible, and that's really the important bit. And this coin is important because it removes any ambiguity from the instructions that perhaps previous versions of this trick didn't. He also talks about the history of the trick, which is great, and he talks about the packaging, which he raves about. Don't know why, because we all love great packaging, we just don't want to pay for it. I really like the hook of challenging your participant, and that despite the fact they're going to be making all of the decisions, your prediction will be correct. I think is a really, really strong one. It plays really well. It's a great, strong, really, really easy trick, and I think this coin is absolutely beautiful. That is Challenge Coin by R.Paul Wilson, 28.50. Next up, it's Together Forever by Steve Gore. I must say, I do know Steve a little bit, mainly due to being Facebook friends, but I did meet him at Blackpool and he did show me this at Blackpool. It is a little take on the anniversary waltz. You find a suitable couple in love and you have them both select a card. You take one card back and that card gets signed. You then take the other card back and that card gets signed. The couples then each hold a corner of their own card, and in their very hands the cards become fused together, making a lovely souvenir. I'm sure you can see the similarities between Christopher Carter's Anniversary Waltz, which was published in The Linking Ring and popularised by Doc Eason and Garrett Thomas. The main difference here is that the cards are offset. Whether that makes this any stronger or not, I'm not entirely sure. It does have its drawbacks though, although this does have some positives as well. Let me show you what you get. So these are what the gimmicks look like. You get 36 of these. They are on bicycle design in theory. The originals were done in Copac before bicycle couldn't make these, but now they can, and they're nicely offset. And the advantage of this is this gives a nice casual handling. So there are sort of less moves with this than the traditional anniversary waltz method. The move you do have to do is a little bolder, but it's very, very easy. It's hard to make it look completely invisible. So Steve uses the crossing the gaze switch, or just asking the couple a question, look them in the eye, they'll look up, and then you can do it. And it eliminates any extra cards or double backers that you might use with your anniversary waltz as well. So you end up with a full deck again at the end that you can use for all of your tricks without worrying that anything else is in the deck. The downside is that, of course, because of the shape of this, you can't have it riding along in the deck right from the start. It won't fit in the card box either. So you have to carry these around in your pocket. So you probably want to carry them around in the box and put them in the pocket just before you perform the effect, or have a loose fitting suit trousers or in your jacket pocket, for example. They are very nicely printed and I think the illusion is pretty good. I do like the way it happens in the open. When the couples are just holding the card like that, I think that is a lovely, strong effect. Another downside, of course, is that these aren't as easy to get hold of than the standard double facer card, so you will need to buy refills. But to be fair, the trick is only £20 and you get 36 gimmicks, so we are only talking a few pence, even if you have to buy the whole trick again. And for the strength of this trick, I think it's probably worth it. The offsetness is really beginning to grow on me. There are actually two handlings taught on the tutorial. The second one is the cleaner and the easiest. They do both involve a palm, I'll tell you that, but it doesn't have to be a perfect palm because you're doing it under misdirection. Personally, I think I probably prefer it to anniversary waltz, not by a lot, but just enough. The only thing that's putting me off is whether or not I want to be buying more specific gimmicks. That is Together Forever by Steve Gore, 1999.
Get it on, 'cause tonight is the night when two become one.
And now it's competition time. Yes, here we go. All your names have gone into the Wok of Wishes. First draw is for Atomic Deck, I believe. So let me just do there. Whoa. Good mix. And you'll be pleased to know that I've actually, or a friend has printed these out on a computer, so I can probably read them correctly. And the first winner of the Atomic Deck is Jeffrey Babbe. There you go, Jeffrey. Congratulations. I think I've probably got your address, but do send it to me in an email, info@monstermagic.co.uk, and I will send you the Atomic Deck by Craig Petty. And now we've got the draw for 30 seconds to stun by Richard Sanders. Here we go. And the winner of 30 seconds to stun is Mark Grierson. There you go, Mark. I definitely do have your address, Mark, so I will send you 30 seconds to stun on Monday morning. Congratulations, Mark. Congratulations, Jeffrey. Next up, it's Fast Forward by Victor Sanz and Joao Miranda. You might remember that Victor Sanz and Joao Miranda recently teamed up for the New Wave wallet, which was a take on the brainwave. This is Victor Sanz's take on the classic baby gag. You show that you have a manila envelope and you ask your participant to say a number between 1 and 10. When you turn around the envelope, it shows the list of celebrities and you pick the person at that number. You then remove from the envelope a picture of that celebrity, but it is them as a baby. But on the back of that picture is a fast forward button. Your participant presses the fast forward button, and when you turn it around, it is actually a picture of that celebrity as a grown-up. I have been so pleasantly surprised with this. Not least, the idea is great. The baby gag has been around for donkeys. We might perhaps get a little bit tired of it, but it still plays really well. It still gets the laughs. And as far as I know, no one's really come up with this idea of the fast forward button, which is a great hook of turning the baby picture into the celebrity. Obviously, sometimes you just turn the picture around and that's fine. But this is far more magical and really does make it into a proper trick. So it's a cracking idea by Victor Sanz. The method is very simple and very easy, but the construction of it, which obviously has to be credited to Joao, is also amazing. Let me show you what you get. So this is the envelope. Here's the list of celebrities. I think this looks incredibly clean. I'm very, very impressed with how good this looks, even close up. I mean, when I opened the packet, I couldn't see it. I honestly couldn't see it. It took, but I knew what I was looking for as well. It took a little bit of playing around to find it. Well, I say that a couple of seconds, but you know, look-wise, it is very, very deceptive. In the tutorial, Joao actually recommends that your participant should be a couple of meters away. I think that's an over-exaggeration. I think you're absolutely pretty good close up. Obviously, it probably depends on the lighting conditions. And then this envelope is actually made from, I'm guessing it's Tyvek. It's very strong. It is waterproof. It's going to last a long time. And it looks incredibly innocent considering just how many secrets it holds. Obviously, you also get the baby gag picture, and there's the fast forward button on the back that they press. That's absolutely terrific. And then you've got the celebrities, Tom Cruise, Mr. Beast, and Margot Robbie. I'm quite happy with these as a choice of celebrities. It's probably the biggest discussion, but normally it's it's always sort of Paris and London and Tom Cruise and Michael Jackson. It's always the same celebrities we seem to be choosing. Tom Cruise, everybody knows Tom Cruise. If you're worried that the person isn't particularly adept at watching a lot of films or watches a lot of TV, then go with Tom Cruise. Margot Robbie is a little bit out there, and Mr. Beast is pretty good for. Oh, that's Margot Robbie, isn't it? And Mr. Beast is pretty good for younger people. The tutorial is by Joao Miranda. It is only 7 minutes long, and that's because this routine is so easy. The construction and the gimmicks do absolutely everything for you. You will need to practice one little bit of it just to minimize the noise. That is all. It's not difficult. Just don't rush into performing it immediately. Just spend a little bit of time getting that nice, smooth and silent, and then you are good to go. I think it's a great trick. It's got the laugh of the baby gag. It's got a slight comedy plot, really. Nice hook of the fast forward button, the surprising revelation of the actual correct celebrity, and the construction and gimmicks are flawless. The box could be a little sturdier. Perhaps they should talk to R.Paul Wilson about packaging, but all of this doesn't come cheap. It is £60.50, but that is Fast Forward by Victor Sanz and Joao Miranda. Next up is Pair Up by Nicolas Mavresis. If you're ever familiar with Nicolas's work, this is another trick that involves predictions and matching with cards, which is really what Nicolas specialises in. In this one, you give both your participants 2 packets of cards, and they've each got celebrity pairings on, such as Tom and Jerry, or Batman and Robin, Laurel and Hardy. They can deal down singly, or they can alternate their cards, and then when the 2 packets are finished dealing, you can turn them over. None of the pairs will match until you get to the end, and it will say you and me, which is a lovely moment for the couple. And then you can show that all of the other pairs now magically match as a kicker. This is yet another trick using Paul Curry's swindle switch deal, which is very, very deceptive. It's also deceptive, as Nicolas does, when you have your participants do it as well. The real strength of this trick, so magically, maybe I've seen a lot of magic tricks, this isn't the strongest in the world, but if you have got a couple who are in love, this will play just great. That is the point of this. It's about a couple and it's about their love. That is how you need to team it up, in the same way that you couldn't imagine Laurel without Hardy, you couldn't imagine Tom without Jerry, despite the fact they fight a lot. This is really, really very much about that pairing. Let me show you the cards a second. So these are the cards you get. So they haven't got pictures on. So I'm slightly disappointed that, you know, it just sort of says the names of the characters rather than a nice picture. But thinking about it, maybe that helps, because obviously the me and you is just written. But I would have liked a picture of Batman and like a picture of Robin. But they are nicely printed cards. They're nice and they're colourful. The backs are just normal, like so. And you get an instruction card for the game, and this helps you explain to the participants what they need to do with their dealing. And on the other side is a nice little poem. So when the cards match, the you and me match at the end, you get to read: the pairs were mixed, the bonds were torn, no match was found, no love was born, but one connection had to be a perfect match with you and me. So I would suggest getting one of them to read out this prediction to their partner, and that's what it's about. It's about trying to make that connection. Magic wise, I don't know, you know, maybe the kicker at the end when all of the cards match adds something to it. There is also a bonus routine where through the dealing process, your participants pick Hardy and Tom, which obviously don't match, but then you turn over the card and there is a picture of Hardy and Tom together. I guess it's nice that Nicolas included that as a possibility, but I found it a little bit weak, to be honest. And really, for me, it is all about that first routine. What is nice about this is that it is completely self-working and hands-off. The downside is that I think you're going to need some good, strong presentation skills to make this play as well as you really, really want it to. That is Pair Up by Nicolas Mavresis, $21.99.
This show is awful, terrible, disgusting. See you next week, of course.
And that's it for this week's show, I'm afraid. I am off to the electricians to try and figure out what on earth is happening with my boat. But fingers crossed, like you, I'm going to grab some magic this weekend and go out there and have some fun with the best hobby in the world. Goodbye.